Welcome, seekers of truth. Today we step into the ancient past to witness a legendary monarch. He forged a mighty empire with an iron blade, vanquishing all his enemies without a drop of mercy. Yet this fierce conqueror is the very same man who penned the most tranquil songs of worship ever known. How did a ruthless warrior find such profound peace? His true throne was never built in ancient Jerusalem. Let us strip away the crown to reveal the heavy cost of power and his painful search for divine grace. The golden dawn breaks across a ruined landscape, revealing the tragic aftermath of endless warfare. Smoke rises slowly from the crimson-stained earth, masking the faces of thousands who perished in the mud. An old warrior pushes himself up from the ground, his heavy scale armor torn and stained with vital red. This weary man is David, the undisputed king of Israel, who has spent his whole life fighting. He grips his shattered iron sword with a trembling hand, looking at the immense cost of his violent reign. From a forgotten shepherd boy to a mighty sovereign, he was always hunted by relentless foes. According to ancient scrolls, his military campaigns were some of the most ruthless in human history. He conquered great nations and expanded his borders, building a kingdom upon a mountain of the dead. But standing among the fallen soldiers today, the glorious crown of Israel feels incredibly heavy. The thrill of total victory has completely faded, leaving behind a hollow and deeply scarred soul. He drops his dull blade into the crimson-stained dirt, realizing that violence never brings true healing. His ultimate desire is not to conquer another city, but to find a quiet rest for his spirit. Every single battle won only brought more enemies, creating an endless cycle of terrible grief. The king looks up at the vast and silent morning sky, searching for a divine answer to his profound pain. He closes his weary eyes, wishing to escape the deafening echoes of dying men and clashing steel. The physical wounds on his aging body will heal, but the unseen mental scars will haunt him forever. Power demands a terrifying sacrifice, consuming the soul of whoever holds the throne. He walks slowly through the devastating scene of ruin, stepping over the broken shields of his warriors. Even as a supreme ruler with mighty power, he feels completely powerless against inner turmoil. The chilling wind blows through his torn purple royal cape, whispering ancient warnings of impending betrayal. He survived the deadly spears of foreign giants, but the most lethal threats are hiding closer to his home. A man can fortify a towering stone castle, but he cannot wall off the darkness of human hearts. The battlefield slowly fades into a haunting memory, replaced by the suffocating gloom of his palace. He returns to the great city of Jerusalem, carrying the heavy guilt of countless tragedies. The cheering crowds welcome their triumphant monarch, entirely unaware of the darkness in his mind. He sits upon his majestic throne of carved gold, yet he feels like a helpless prisoner in a cage. The safety of the royal court is an illusion, hiding a deadly pit of poisonous hidden snakes. His sharp eyes scan the grand hall of the ancient palace, trusting absolutely no one who stands before him. Every smiling face could mask a hidden dagger, ready to strike when he finally closes his eyes. He trades his battle armor for elegant royal robes, but the crushing weight of paranoia remains. The glorious kingdom he sacrificed all to build is slowly rotting away from the very inside. He is surrounded by greedy men who crave his power, waiting patiently like hungry wolves in the dark. The brilliant daylight cannot penetrate these cold walls, reflecting the chilling isolation of kings. He wanders alone through the shadowy stone corridors, listening to the quiet whispers of his men. These treacherous courtiers ever plot behind his back, wrapping their dark ambitions in polite respect. Historical records show that his own flesh and blood plotted to destroy him and steal the royal crown. The betrayal of his beloved son Absalom pierced his heart far deeper than any enemy spear. He watches the calculating eyes of his generals, knowing they value power much more than loyalty. In this terrifying game of ancient politics, one moment of weakness is a sudden, tragic end. If you were surrounded by traitors disguised as friends, would you strike first, or wait for their deadly betrayal? He must constantly calculate every single move, playing a deadly game of chess with his people. The flickering torchlight casts long and twisted shadows, turning ordinary men into fierce monsters. He tightly grips the rough parchment of ancient treaties, realizing political vows are worthless. A king can command massive armies to march to fire, but he cannot command his own son to truly love him. The agonizing sting of family betrayal burns, leaving him completely broken and alone. He slowly removes the heavy golden crown from his head, staring at it with profound disgust and sorrow. This glittering object has brought nothing but tragedy, tearing his beloved family piece by piece. He walks past the lavish decorations of his grand hall, feeling entirely detached from earthly wealth. The beautiful silk tapestries cannot hide the ugly truth of a kingdom built on lies and fallen blood. He retreats to the highest balcony of his fortress, looking down at the sleeping city of his people. The cold night air washes over his deeply wrinkled face, carrying the distant sounds of crying widows. He realizes human strength is fundamentally flawed, unable to secure peace for anyone. Every great empire established by the cruel sword will fall by the weapon of another conqueror. He turns away from the dazzling view of the ancient city, seeking solace in the quiet of his lonely room. The heavy wooden doors close with a thunderous echo, shutting out the dangerous world of deceitful men. He strips away the heavy layers of royal clothing, revealing a simple white linen tunic beneath. In the profound silence of the night, the powerful king becomes just a fragile and desperate human being. He falls to his worn knees on the freezing cold stone floor, surrendering his tremendous pride and ego. The terrible memories of his violent past rush back, flashing vividly like lightning in a storm. He sees the brutal clash of ancient soldiers in his mind, the blinding flash of bronze and the tragic crimson spray. He remembers the cries of fallen enemies, a terrible symphony made by his ambitions. He remembers the heartbreaking loss of his defiant son, a tragedy that nearly shattered his whole mind. These painful visions threaten to completely overwhelm him, pulling him into an abyss of despair. But in this absolute darkness, he finally understands the ultimate truth of human life and power. Earthly fortresses will crumble into forgotten dust, and sharp iron weapons will rust into fragments. When every earthly foundation shatters beneath your feet, what ultimate truth will you choose to stand on? He lifts his tearful eyes toward the ceiling of his chamber, whispering a desperate prayer for deliverance. He completely lets go of the need to control everything, submitting entirely to a higher power. Yet ancient scholars note that his greatest victory was not won with a blade, but upon his very knees. Suddenly, a brilliant shaft of divine light pierces the gloom, illuminating his face with heavenly warmth. The heavy weight of his immense guilt and paranoia is miraculously lifted from his shoulders. He finally recognizes Jehovah as his true rock, his impenetrable fortress and deliverer. The agonizing fear of betrayal vanishes, replaced by an overwhelming sense of holy grace. He is no longer a ruthless conqueror fighting to survive, but a humble servant, embraced by divine love. His troubled expression softens into sheer serenity, a peaceful look he has not worn since his childhood. The terrifying echoes of war are permanently silenced, replaced by a whisper of eternal grace. He slowly picks up his beloved wooden lyre from the ground, his weathered fingers gently brushing the strings. He begins to compose a beautiful song of pure gratitude, a timeless melody echoing through history. This is not a triumphant anthem of a worldly mighty king, but the profound confession of a redeemed soul. He sings of walking bravely through the shadowy veil of death, fearing no evil because the Lord is with him. The beautiful notes of the harp fill the quiet chamber, dispelling every lingering shadow of dread. His voice resonates with incredible power, carrying the heavy wisdom of 1,000 wars. He understands that true strength is found in pure humility, not in the sharp edge of a mighty master's sword. The golden morning light streams perfectly through his chamber window, signaling the peaceful end of his chaotic reign. He gazes calmly at the brilliant sunrise over Jerusalem, finally at peace with himself and his God. The endless cycle of horrific violence has been broken, making way for a new era of prosperity. He has prepared the solid foundation for the brighter future, ensuring his kingdom survives beyond his death. His extraordinary journey from a pasture to the royal throne is finally reaching its graceful end. He conquered many nations and defeated mighty giants, but his greatest triumph is conquering his own heart. The divine light shines brightly upon his weathered face, a beautiful testament to the power of faith. He continues to play his ancient wooden instrument softly, completely lost in a mighty state of worship. The treacherous ministers and their dark political schemes no longer hold any power over his mind. He is shielded by an invisible spiritual fortress, a sanctuary no earthly weapon can breach. His remarkable legacy won't be defined by brutal wars, but by the immortal poetry of his psalms. The weary king of Israel rests peacefully in the light, ready to pass his kingdom to a much wiser son. The absolute greatest battles of a mighty ruler are always fought silently within the human heart. He slowly closes his very tired eyes, feeling a profound connection with the eternal Creator. All the terrible burdens of leading a fractured nation simply melt away in the brighter sunlight. He finally realizes that the heaviest chains were never forged from iron, but from his deepest fears. Through intense suffering and loss, he discovered a sanctuary no invading army could destroy. A majestic shadow gracefully steps forward from the grand pillars of the ancient royal stone palace. It is the young Prince Solomon, stepping confidently into the warm morning light of a brand new day. He watches his aging father with a profound respect, recognizing the true power of inner peace. The violent era of the great mighty Conqueror is drawing to a peaceful and graceful close. This young prince will not inherit a broken battlefield, but a mighty kingdom, ready for greatness. He stands before the legendary king, completely ready to receive the mantle of leadership. David slowly opens his peaceful eyes, looking at his beloved son with incredible, warm pride. He does not offer him a sharpened blade, but instead shares the profound wisdom of a truly changed soul. He knows that the most dangerous enemies are never waiting outside the guarded ancient walls. The grand royal court stands in complete silence, witnessing the incredible awakening of their king. Solomon listens carefully to these ancient truths, absorbing every spoken word with deep respect. He will soon construct the magnificent holy temple his aging father was forbidden to build. A fierce warrior with so much blood on his hands could never lay the sacred foundation of God's house. But David has finally accepted this righteous divine judgment, finding true peace in his son's future. He gently places his weathered hand upon the young prince's shoulder, transferring the royal burden. The terrible reign of iron and burning fire is officially over, yielding to a wiser era. Solomon will govern this massive nation with a sharp intellect, bringing unparalleled harmony. But the foundation of this glorious peace was entirely paid for by his father's deep suffering. History will always remember David not just as a fierce king, but as a vulnerable man. A powerful monarch who had the amazing courage to openly confess his mistakes to God. The beautiful strings of the ancient Conqueror lyre vibrate gently, carrying his final prayer to the sky. The brilliant sunlight beautifully illuminates the royal throne room, banishing all the darkness. For the very first time in his entire life, the aging king feels completely and absolutely safe. His legendary kingdom will one day fall, but his sacred poetry will survive forever. These ancient words of comfort continue to bring profound hope to millions of broken souls on earth. The incredible awakening of David shows that true greatness is never measured by the sword. It is measured by your remarkable ability to surrender your deep pride for inner peace. As the gentle music slowly fades into the morning air, the heavy curtain of history falls. The warrior king of ancient Jerusalem finally steps out of the shadows into the light. His astonishing life remains a powerful testament to the enduring strength of sincere faith. Now, Solomon must take this magnificent legacy and build an empire using wisdom, not war. The golden age of Israel has officially begun, rising from the ashes of deep suffering. David left behind a truly mighty kingdom, but his hands were forever stained with countless fallen souls. Or was he just a ruthless tyrant who invoked God to justify his endless, brutal wars? Share your thoughts below. If this profound history moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for epic tales.